You're very welcome. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, and then just drink yours then.
Yes, it does.
All right, you got about 45 seconds.
All right,
We
sounds
got
good.
it.
All righty.
You gonna do
Good
that?
evening, Mr. Wager.
Good evening.
No. Nope.
What's the betting line?
The batting line? Oh. Well, we've got to nominate officers.
Somebody's working now.
Awesome.
And then,
I just didn't know.
that was. Crazy.
Because that hasn't been, she hadn't taken it yet.
oh, she had not taken the
Hasn't
We're
been,
good. How about you this evening?
Okay.
she told me Thursday she didn't know if she was going. I heard it from her mouth directly.
You
Okay.
got it.
Hello?
Chase, but-
Oh,
Well, okay, it's 6 o'clock,
She should
so
be
we're
here.
going to go ahead and get started this evening. I'd like to call this special meeting of the Upshur County Board of Education to order. This evening, we'll do a roll call. I know that we have Mr. Wager by phone. Present, we have Mrs. Jan Craig, Mrs. Sherry Dean, and Mr. Willie Parker. Absent is new member Susan King. At this time, I'd like for us all to stand for the pledge to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do need to make a correction to the agenda this evening. There is no administration of an oath this evening, even for the president and vice president that are elected. I affirmed that with Mr. Brown at the West Virginia School Boards Association office today. Wasn't real certain, so I wanted to make sure. So we will not be doing any administering of oaths this evening. So our first order of business is to recommend and vote on a president that would serve in that capacity for the next 2 years. So I will open the floor for nominations.
Yes, this is Roy Wager. I would like to recommend Mrs. Jan Craig for president.
Do I have a second on that?
second.
Are there any other nominations at this time? Hearing none, we do have before us a recommendation that Mrs. Jan Craig serve as president of the Upshur County Board of Education for the next 2 years. Mrs. Dean did second that. If there are no further questions and or discussion, I will entertain the vote at this time. So all those in favor of Mrs. Jan Craig serving as the board president for the next 2 years, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Mrs. Craig.
Thank you.
So you will take over from this point, and we will move down through the agenda. So the next thing we would do would be then the vice president.
I would entertain a motion to nomination for vice president. Can Mr. Wager hear me?
Mr. Wager, did you hear that?
No, I did not. I'm sorry.
That's what I,
Ms. Craig has opened the floor for nominations for vice president.
Okay.
Do you have a nomination you'd like to bring up for vice president?
Can't recommend myself.
I nominate Sherry Dean.
I'll second that.
All of those in favor of Sherry Dean serving as vice president for the next 2 years for the Upshur County Board of Education, please signify by saying aye.
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 Nays? The ayes have it. I know we have marked off administering the oath of office. However, could you explain that the oath of office that Mr. Parker has taken his oath of office, just
Yes.
for clarification?
Absolutely. So Mr. Parker went to the circuit clerk's office, and he went ahead and took his oath of office there, and he has provided with me the copy of the signature of Carol Smith. And so he is duly a member now of the Upshur County Board of Education.
Okay. We now need to look at board committee member assignments, which is number 6 on your agenda. The first one is the Fred Eberly Technical Center Administrative Council.
I would like to continue in that position.
I'll nominate Mr. Wager.
Okay.
Okay. Second,
A second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Wager, you are still on the Fred Eberly Technical Center Administrative Council. If you can hear me.
Did you hear her?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
We now need someone to serve on the Stockard Youth Center Board of Directors. Who was that before?
That was Dr. Samples.
Okay,
I'd be willing to do that if you'd like.
would you put that in the form of a motion for me, Mrs. Dean?
I recommend that Mr. Parker, for this position.
Could I have a second, Mr. Wager?
Yes, second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Mr. Lee Parker is the Stockard Youth Board of Directors. Upshur County Public Library Board of Directors. Mrs. Dean has served in that capacity before, and I think has done a wonderful job.
I would like to stay.
Move to nominate, recommend Ms. Dean.
Mr. Wager, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mrs. Dean, you are now continuing as the Upshur County Public Library Board of Directors. The last one is the Upshur County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And who did that in the past?
I do not know.
It was not a board member. I know that. At one point in time, Brandon Williams served that position, and a number of other people have served on that position.
If a board member does not want to serve in that position, then we could ask or see who else could serve in that capacity. We would just have to ask, based on the bylaws of the Parks and Recreation Commission, who would be permitted to serve in that role.
Well, and could we also ask who's already serving?
Yes.
So that they may want to continue to serve?
I'm familiar with their operations. I'd be willing to do that
To serve there?
if you
Okay.
so desire.
Okay, Mrs. Dean, do you want to make that motion?
So moved that Mr. Parker serves on the Upshur County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Mr. Wager?
Second. Oh, sorry.
All of-
It's hard to hear sometimes.
You're right. You're doing
All
good.
of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That concludes everything except for the announcement that the next meeting of the Upshur County Board of Education will be held on Tuesday, July the 9th, 2024 at 6 o'clock in the auditorium at Buckhannon-Upshur High School. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let me reverse that. All members in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Uh,
Aye. And we are adjourned, and that is PM, not AM.
Yes.
Talk to whoever for a minute about, I don't know what happened with Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
You're very welcome, Mr. Wager. If you need anything else, you give me a call.
You know.
Enjoy yourself.
She
All right.
has not
Bye-bye.